Hello there. This is Tim Chaten. I'm here to kind of walk through the Pixar theory that has been going around the interwebs these past few days. It's from a blog post from John Negroni. He's an entertainment blogger, and that's where this all comes from. This grand theory, this Pixar theory, that all Pixar films are in one universe, one world, and it's on a timeline. Some films may be running parallel to each other, some before, some after. And it's this huge connected world that we didn't really realize before this. So pretty much every Pixar film is taken into account here. It starts out with Brave. And Brave is kind of the magical sauce that makes us all work together and makes things make sense. The big thing about Brave is it is so early of a film, timeline-wise. And then there is this witch, and there's magic involved. And one of the theories here is that this witch is Boo, and that she travels through time using magical doors that she figured out how to do, meaning of which she does magical things to different things, such as the toys in Toy Story. And the animals in Brave advance, and also perhaps she has a part to play with creating these magical beings in this world. We have magical cars and all these different things. So Brave is kind of the essence of how this all starts off. It's the first film, and we have this witch character that I believe is pretty true. That is perhaps Boo from Monsters Inc. That she's going through time and ends up in this Brave world, and that's how we're there. The next film, if you're watching this sequentially, would be Ratatouille. We're going through now the animal evolution here, where we have Ratatouille, these smart rats, and these are rats that evolved from animals of the Brave world, where we had some intelligent animals in Brave. The scarecrow, for instance, and now Ratatouille. They're doing very basic things. They're cooking. You see in the movie they don't yet understand how to talk in human tongue, but they do know how to communicate with humans in other ways. They're able to communicate between their own species quite easily, but it just squeaks and squawks when humans actually hear them talk. So the same thing as is found in the movie Up. So we go from Ratatouille to now Up. Up has these intelligent dogs that have collars that enable them to speak in human tongue. So Charles Muntz has figured out that these dogs are actually smart, like in Ratatouille, that these dogs are instead of rats, these dogs are smart. He's figured out how to verbalize their speech, their thoughts, and so we have these smart dogs, and that is the next phase of, so to speak, evolution of the animal sense, and then going from there. Another theory within this is that in Up, the old guy is forced out of his home because of this big corporation taking over the world, and by and large is a corporation that's in a lot of different Pixar films, and is the corporation that ends up destroying the Earth in Wally, things like that. And it is thought that by and large, it's not mentioned in the movie, but is that corporation that is forcing him out of Up. So once again, a very connected world, and that does make logical sense there. After Up, the last in the animal evolution, the main animal evolution, is Finding Nemo, where we have an entire population of sea creatures united to save a fish captured by humans. B&L shows up again in the universe via another news article that talks about a beautiful underwater world. So that corporation is in this movie as well, and the lines across there are human that antagonize intelligent animals, and you have Dory, who is a little bit further behind the evolution. So you see in this world, the animals are mostly all intelligent, these sea creatures, and you see Dory being further along. So you can see that they're evolving, but they're not perhaps in parallel evolution there. So that's the end of the animal story here. Now this theory moves on to The Incredibles. So The Incredibles and as far as timeline was, I'm not sure the years. Some of these films may run in parallel. Some may be, before, after, things like that. You see in the end credits of Up that Star Wars opening weekend is in it, so 1977 is where that ends, and perhaps Finding Nemo is after that. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out the years and how that connects. But The Incredibles is next up. And this is where we get the evolution of artificial intelligence. So, this is the 1960s, 1950s kind of era. So this is actually this is before. So a lot of these are parallel timelines. Some are after, some are before, but it's all one world. So as a matter of when you watch it, the order is still up for grabs, I would say. So this is the big thing here is AI, the Killbot. This is kind of the first instance of artificial intelligence in this world, and let's see what else in this world here. As far as other things in here, this links up directly with the Pixar Toy Story film. I'm trying to go through and see why this was. So experimenting on machines, and Toy Story is next up in his theory here. Discarding objects that, and that whole Toy Story story is kind of next up with AI. We have these magical toys, so to speak, and that is kind of next up. So those kind of stories are in there in the timeline. I believe they are less vital to the whole connection of the whole world, but it's just a part of the story here. So meanwhile, on the next big story is that of Wally, and this is a huge one as far as the timeline is concerned. Basically, with Wally, you see the end of our planet as we know it. We have instead humans leaving Earth, being slaves to these machines, sitting in chairs all day, following a routine schedule, being very fat and slaves even to these machines, and that was thought the planet got destroyed because of the cars that you find in Cars later on. That cars were the cause of the planet being so bad. Humans being a big part of that as well. But the humans are in fact like toys in Toy Story, where they are in fact now subsidiary to these machines. So meanwhile on Earth, we have cars and Cars 2. So we have these things that humans created, but in a world without humans. This would make sense that this would happen during when the humans are off in a different planet. So perhaps these three films all run in parallel kind of thing. And then there was an energy crisis. They're running out of fuel in Cars 2, and that does make sense in this world. And after Wally liberates the humans at the end of that film, you see this boot and a shoe. This is the same tree that is pointed out in this blog, in this theory here, from A Bug's Life, and even maybe from Up, the tree that Ellie and the older guy sit under. So that is a connection there. There's also that's a possible one reason that's possible that A Bug's Life is actually post-apocalyptic after Up actually happens, and there's very little human interaction, but there is some human interaction in A Bug's Life, which makes sense because there's not as many humans after they come back to Earth. There's fewer of them around, and these bugs are very different from the other animals that we've encountered so far. So these bugs in A Bug's Life, they have clothing, they have human kind of towns built. It's a very different kind of world in here. So from A Bug's Life, we move on to Monsters Inc. and Monsters University. And this is very, very further along in the timeline here. So we have these animals that have evolved into monsters. Most of these monsters do look like animals, but evolved forms of them. And you have these magical doors that they need energy. So they go through time. These are time travel doors that bring them back into the peak of human civilization, probably around the Incredibles time period, 1960s, 1970s time period, and they have that happen. And Boo comes into this world and gets to see all of this.